Yo, y'all listen up, I got something to say. I'm gonna speak the truth to you, but some of y'all, you took a shortcut, a convenience this summer. You was like, coach ain't here, the season's weeks away, I got time. Are you kidding me? As a college athlete, you got 4, maybe 5 years to be great or be forgotten. So while you home taking it easy, somebody else is out there in the heat just about killing itself to make their name great. But you got time. Insane. Yeah. My heart is purple and gold. I'm a pirate down to my soul, and I don't back down, not at all. Find out when the cannons explode. From the sidelines down to the post, put it down like not even close. All out till the last whistle blow. From the flag of the soul and crossbones. Everybody stand up, get your hands up. Let a team know that we got they back. This is our house, this is our town, our time.
Yo, what is up, y'all? And thank y'all for joining us here at the Athletes Table Podcast. Our host, the Lebanese Stallion, me, AJ, and Koo. What's up, my G's? What's going on, dog?
Going well. I don't know if any of y'all here or not, but we're doing well here, getting ready, doing the show, finally going to have it the way we want to. Going live for the second time today, or this year, on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. So check it out, see it all, and get ready. So we got a great show today for the midweek breakdown. We're going into about 9 games or so, 10 games. Some really great work. Our correspondent today, our special guest, however you want to refer to him this week, he will be doing 2 games, giving notes on 2 games, and then we're going to call a game each and have about 5 games total that we're going to decide on who we think is going to win. But let's go ahead and get this thing started with what is your thoughts about last week?
Alabama finally played football. That was pretty impressive, pretty great. It sucked. Colorado got slapped, which I guess Gabby's going to be happy about, but damn. Bo Nix
in Gabby's terms, they were humbled.
I don't even know if that was humbling anymore.
Bo Nix sucked. That's the thing, though.
That was an old school grandma ass whooping.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly what Deion Sanders said.
AJ, what about you? What was big for you? Because I know you were at the ECU game last weekend, so you saw ECU finally win a game this season after starting working there. But overall, what was your takeaway from last week's college football week?
Ohio State finally found their quarterback.
Yeah,
that's the big. Like they finally got everything together. So I think Ohio State's going to have a good rest of the season. That was a good start for them. That to me was the biggest takeaway. That win. That and probably Oregon and Washington still steamrolling everybody. So that's.
I'll tell you. I know we'll get to you in a second. Mm-hmm. But what surprised me out of that Pac-12 is one of the 2 Pac-12 teams that are remaining. Oregon State looks pretty dang good. Washington State looks pretty dang good. And Washington overall, probably one of the powerhouse teams coming out of that Pac-12.
Yeah. I don't know how much I agree with that Oregon State take.
I'll tell you, Oregon State really did surprise me. I guess I'm saying I'm more surprised at how well they were doing in the first half and that third quarter. That fourth quarter was when that whole iffiness started to come in. And that's the inexperience because Oregon State, when have they been known for football?
That's true.
They've been up and coming the last 2 years.
Jonathan Smith has them rolling, man.
Yeah, just DJ is not cutting it.
Oh, no. Yeah, I agree. He had a good first half for sure.
Yeah, he had a good first half. There's 2 halves in football.
Exactly.
So that's not currently going to work.
That DJ Wong came back into
that oogie.
So
that's very true.
We're back at it again with that, that DJ ukulele here.
I do have something I want to say.
Yeah,
before
I was about to.
Yeah. You know who's 25th in the country right now? I bet you won't guess it.
I looked at it too earlier.
California team.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, Jesus.
UCLA.
Starts with the F.
Starts with the F.
Their
Probably should be
mascot's
ranked
very
40.
common.
The what? I'm sorry?
Their mascot's very common across college athletics.
That's a lot like Wildcat.
Well, that ain't that.
No, I know, but that's like the most common.
I'll just let you know now.
Yeah.
It's Fresno State.
I did see that. That's a bulldog. Yeah, so it's a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, we're not really going to go over their game for this weekend,
No.
and we haven't really been looking at it very much. But I'll tell you, that offense is a juggernaut, man. They've been putting up points left.
Like, you know, when that all started there, not even Derek Carr, it was his brother who kind of initiated the Fresno State football incoming of the 2000s.
They put out a couple of quarterbacks.
Dude, Fresno State has had Matt Carr, Derek Carr, the kid that got drafted last year, the Saints, who's backing up Derek Carr now.
Yeah, Derek Carr just got hurt last week. So
shoulder.
Yeah.
But Jameis Winston was the one that was in, but I don't know how you put in interception Winston out there. So
Hey, he eats W's. It's not interceptions. He eats W's. It's a difference. Put some respect on the damn name. My God.
all right, as long as he gives me some of those crab legs.
Fair.
Crab legs, I'm not gonna. I'd be all about that.
No, I did. I forgot that they got ranked. I was thinking I'm like a whole week behind, a week ahead, week behind kind of feel to it.
Right.
It's just been a little while. So out of all that, so Fresno State really kind of surprised you. It's kind of surprised a little bit of everybody.
Colorado did get humbled.
So
Yeah.
but
Really did.
me, I'm an Ohio State fan. I know all you guys kind of know that, but the 4 minutes left in the game, Kyle McCord throws that incompletion. Or no, they run the ball to the right with a jet sweep. Right? It gets shut down. They lose a yard. The Irish start moving the ball. Okay. I kind of turned off the TV at that point. I could have watched
No. What if we learn, Nick?
No.
What if we learn? We don't leave the house. Don't turn off the damn television because
Hold on. Listen to this. Right? I turned the TV on about 5 minutes, like actual 5 minutes time, not 5 minute game time, right? Because it wasn't 5 minutes left of game time left at all. I turned it back on 5 minutes later. I was just kind of pissed about the whole play. I was like poor play calling. Turn it back on. Next thing I know, Ohio State's moving the ball down the thing. 1 yard line TD run. I was like, okay. It's not my fault that Notre Dame forgot to put an 11th man out there twice.
Dude,
Two
and they
plays
forgot
in a
the
row.
nose tackle.
2 plays in a row.
It was
Go ahead, Aaron.
What? Did we lose you?
I think Aaron is no longer with us.
Rest in peace, Aaron. We'll talk to you
Yeah.
soon. Online. Guys, make sure you guys go tell all your friends to check out the show today. It is live, but we will have the actual episode posted tomorrow on our podcast channel. So if you miss it today, you can catch it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And be ready for Saturday.
Yeah, make sure you go follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We're going to start putting some more stuff on YouTube here coming soon. Now we got this stuff.
Now that we got this new system that we're using called StreamYard.
Why do you never get that?
Because it doesn't sound right. Like Yardstream makes more sense.
This is why we can't have them as a sponsor, because you can't say their name right.
Good, I don't want them as a sponsor.
It's like Tim
They got a stupid
say
belt. I don't like Oregon.
Don't say that. Don't say that. They're helping us out. Oh, we lost some.
We have officially lost the Coop.
We lost Coop.
No, it's not Coop. It's the
We gotta get him back on. He's got some games.
Yeah.
Alabama the past 2 years. Oh, geez. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get into this a little bit more deeper into it. AJ, when you're on the sideline in an ECU football game, I know you and I have talked. I know not the whole world knows anything like this yet. But as you do this, what is something that you're like, man, I'm on the sideline watching the game, and they're winning their first game this season when they've had so many chances to actually win. What was going through your mind being the first year in Greenville and experiencing what a W was like in Dowdy-Ficklen Stadium?
Yeah, that's actually a great question because I'm actually not on the sideline during the games.
I mean, towards the end of the game, like that fourth quarter.
Because it was so wet. And we got done towards the end of the game. I actually didn't go on the field this past game. But I did get a chance to just walk around the stadium and, see how, just see what folks were thinking. And at that point, everybody was, we were up like 35-0, like 44-0, whatever we were. It was late in the fourth quarter when I actually got into the stadium. But no, it was great. People still turned out, even though we had flooding everywhere here in Greenville.
That's what we get with the 15th hurricane this season.
Yeah, but no, it was great. It was definitely a much needed win for ECU. So it was great to see. Just great to see people still supporting and having people out there in the stadium, and glad to get our first win under our belt as we head into conference play. That's huge.
It helps, especially even though it's an FCS team, and in my opinion, they kind of should have done that like week 2 kind of game style, right after playing Michigan, to give them some confidence coming back. Because I don't know about you guys, this is just my personal opinion. I guess I look at it from a coach's point of view a little bit, and a player's view at it as well. But when you go into a big school like Michigan, like Alabama, Ole Miss, and you're playing these teams because you're getting a little bit of pay to go play these teams, no matter what level of Division I football you're at or Division II football, even some of those guys come out and play against these Division I teams, and they get smacked. Unless you're A&T a couple of years ago where they beat ECU, and he told them, "Come bring me my money."
Manzo.
What do you guys take on that? Because I feel like it's more of the bigger schools get a better feel for themselves. They're like, okay, we beat kind of mid-major school, we're good. But these mid-major schools kind of lose that.
We back?
Yes, sir.
The schools lose that confidence going into the season, and then right around like the next game, a lot of them play a divisional opponent. A conference opponent. They play another ranked school or something like that. You guys see that affecting any of these schools on a regular basis, just from what you guys see on sports in general?
What, playing a non-ranked team, then playing a ranked team, then playing nobody, then playing somebody?
No, so playing like going ECU to Michigan or like New Mexico State going to Alabama, and like the big schools get the confidence booster because they beat the small team. They're like, all right, we can play the game of football. But then the smaller schools are like, okay, crap, we lost, obviously, 55-0, 44-0, whatever. But then they go, and a lot of times the next game is a conference game for them or whatever. So they're kind of coming down off of a loss. So the confidence isn't there, right? Then they come into the next game, and they're like, oh, dang, okay, we got to step up our stuff because we lost 2 games in a row now.
It depends on how you look at it.
That's very true.
If you look at like ECU going to play Michigan that they did, you can look at like they only held them to 30 points for one thing. Their defense looked very good for the first half. You got to remember they were tied up going into halftime. That's a win. So it's not so much you look at the whole game as like, did I win the game or not? It's like, did I win this battle? Did I win this battle? Did I win this battle?
Mm-hmm.
Then you go into conference play. It's like you have exacerbated your whole entire unit of a game, opposed to breaking up in categories. You're like, okay, well, we did good at this against a top 10 offense, which I don't really want to say this is top 10, but
I never say that.
I know, but in this case, we have to. So you look at that, and then you take the stuff that they didn't do. They're like, okay, those are the losses. This is stuff that we have to work on. So whenever we're doing a conference play, for them playing in American, a lot less competitive as what the Big Ten is.
Yeah. No, and this also goes for the high school level because you got those powerhouse schools who, or the smaller public schools, the smaller private schools come in and play, beat them up, and they feel good for the next week to go into the next game. Right. So it goes at all levels. I just wanted to so the guys watching right now live, and then the people who are going to see it tomorrow, listen to it tomorrow or the next day, and be like, oh yeah, I remember those days when I was playing in high school and whatever. And I remember those kind of things happening because we weren't having a 5-star recruiting. Everybody gets that, unfortunately. But anyways, let's move on to the next thing. What so far this week has surprised you with the new rankings? I know we mentioned a little bit earlier with Fresno State, but what kind of like the one that's like, dang, they are still in top 5, top 4, top 10, top 25? Anybody take this one? Whoever wants it. AJ, Aaron, Dylan, whoever.
There's definitely one team that's ranked that I'm surprised is actually ranked, and that's Missouri. To be completely honest, I mean they beat
Corbin. Corbin, I know you like Missouri. Gotta really say it.
I mean,
sorry,
kudos to them for for beating Kansas State, but like, I mean, you beat Kansas State off of like an insanely long field goal as time expired. Like,
Exactly.
It's a good win, but like, does anybody actually think that Missouri is actually going to win more than 7 games this year?
Corbin does.
Corbin thinks that they're going to win.
Other than Corbin Case.
Wow, Sean told me that. Shout out to Corbin. We hope that your grandfather.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Corbin. Hopefully you don't mind that. I didn't even think about that as I said that.
So,
Oh man.
If anybody is out there who knows Corbin, hope that your grandfather's doing better. Glad to hear you out of the hospital. Make sure you get there. Make sure you enjoy that game for us this weekend too. That when you're there. But yeah, no, Missouri is definitely a great choice. Saying that is somebody who is not should not having the ability to be in the top 25 yet. They haven't proved themselves yet.
Yeah,
also,
I agree with that.
While we're in the SEC, I do have one, like the overall, not like my bias doesn't factor into this one completely. But
not
how in
everybody,
the world?
Adrian is a Florida fan, so he is a little biased towards the SEC.
But like, how in the world is Tennessee still ranked ahead of Florida?
They did lose.
After Florida beat them? Like, I mean, even like if you take like even if you don't have any horse in that race, how can you look at that and rank Tennessee ahead of them 2 weeks in a row after losing to them when they have the same record? I don't know.
And it wasn't like a close victory either for Florida. It was a large victory.
Yeah, it was bad. One thing that surprises me, I guess, out of all the rankings, really, I mean, that was definitely a confusing one per usual. You know, you never understand. But I'm surprised, like, adamantly surprised that Ohio State just crept into 4. They should at least be 2 or 3. Michigan should probably be 1. 2 you could make a case for Texas, but Texas has, I mean, since they beat Alabama, they've played games close.
Yeah.
Georgia has played not good opponents, and they've played a few really close. I mean, like at one point they were losing by halftime against a team. Like that's not a good look for the number 1 team. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. There's a lot of confusion at the rankings, but I mean, that's just how it's going to be every year.
Number 3 doesn't make too much sense either.
Yeah.
Losing to Clemson, who's not ranked. Almost losing
that was hilarious. When I was watching with my dad, I'm like, they just changed out their kicker. Me and Nick watched him shake it. Shakes it. I'm like, no, you can't be serious. He sucks too. That's what I'm talking about. Go Clemson, baby.
The story is,
relax.
If you haven't heard the story, he is a kicker for Clemson. He's been there for 4 years prior. Was a backup kicker. Found out this new guy was coming in his 5th year in the master's program.
Said bye.
The starter. He goes, I'm going to stop, focus on school because he knew he was going to get the starting spot. What happens on Friday? It's a phone call from Dabo Sweeney. Hey, would you like to kick? You have 1 year of eligibility left. Why don't you come kick for us? He goes, okay, I'll come out. He went 7 for 8 in practice from 45 or 50 yards out. And the rest is history. He made 1 for 2 field goals on Saturday, and the one that he needed to hit was the game winner, and he couldn't perform at that moment. But who knows?
Yep.
The team might be brighter down the road for them. It might not be at that moment. But I do like that. I think those points about Michigan and Ohio State and Georgia and Florida State were pretty good. How about yourself, though?
I've got 2, and both of them stem to the game that I got chosen to analyze this week. Number 1, I'm kind of surprised that Utah is still 10, and this is why I say that. I love Utah. I love the way that they play, but they've been playing with a backup quarterback this whole entire time. That we have no. Yeah, but we don't know when Cam Rising is going to come back.
True. Very true.
So the only thing that's holding them up is their defense is freaking jaws, dude. Mm-hmm. They go after.
Oh yeah.
And also, I don't know how Oregon State is still ranked.
Exactly.
I know you're kind of on an Oregon State train a little bit. I'm not. I think they suck. I think they are not good at all.
Well, I think that they're a team that kind of they're slowly finding themselves. It's taken them 20 years to find themselves. Don't get me wrong.
You can't find yourself though during the season. The first 4 games, you lose games, you ain't getting ranked. You can't find yourself like that. I mean, bigger schools like Alabama, Ohio State, or Georgia, or any of the top teams, you can find yourself in their season. Doesn't matter because you're going to pull it out in the end. But teams like that, it's like, we just figured out who we are. 4 games in, we've lost 2 or 3. We're not really going to be anything important. We might be fun to watch, but they're not. The only fun team to watch, and I'm sticking to that, is Colorado because of one guy and one guy only. That's literally how it's going to be for a while.
Same thing, but I don't think as much about Colorado. Like I'm on the Prime train. Everybody knows that on this show. I'm on the Prime.
Everybody
train.
is. Prime is just taking over the college football season.
I am kind of sold on watching. If their games were a little bit earlier, Washington University.
Yeah.
They have an offense. They have a complete offense. Their quarterback sees the field beautifully. Their offensive line gives them plenty of time against any team. The defense, 3 interceptions. One guy had an interception on his birthday last week and returned it for a pick 6. So, that defense is complete almost in the whole aspect. That whole team, if they played better competition throughout the year, might be arguably one of the top 5 teams in the country by the end of the year. But their not record, but their strength of schedule is not as high as like the Alabamas or the Floridas or the Georgias. The SEC,
that's true.
The Pac-12, yes, they have ranked people, but most teams in there are, okay, we're really good on offense, we suck on defense, or we're really good on defense and we suck on offense.
The Pac-12 is usually offensive-minded. They've always been that way.
Not when you're at Washington this year.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Washington has a pretty good defense.
They do.
If you watch a game, you'll be surprised.
Oh, I watched the game. I know they don't have a running game.
That's the one thing that they're only missing.
When they go play real competition, it's gonna be difficult. I like Penix though.
Yeah, Penix
can toss the pigskin around, but
he should definitely be in the Heisman conversation. Early Heisman conversation.
He is in the early Heisman.
I was gonna say Penix should definitely be the Heisman front runner at this point.
Yeah.
Who's the other one?
I think Bo Nix is sadly creeping in. I hate Bo Nix. 5 years, dude, and you sucked at Auburn. All you did was try to beat Alabama every year and just make it a horrible scene. Now you're fucking good at Oregon. It's painful. I hate him. Him so much.
Sometimes a player needs a change of scenery to be better.
Yeah, but it's Bo Nix.
That's true.
For Nix, or for JT Daniels, it happened to be Georgia's West Virginia, like that timing there.
That's true.
Going out to Rice really helped his career. And a lot of these guys need a different viewpoint because they're so used to what they get involved around the whole time.
And I've got another hot take for the Heisman frontrunners, and y'all are not going to like this.
Because anybody from Michigan was like,
it's not Michigan. I don't say anything good about the Big Ten. Okay, that's
well, I can live with that.
We're laying that foundation now. I will.
He is
Clemson fan, so I'm not a Clemson.
Okay, I'm sorry, James.
I do like.
There you go.
He likes them cocks, baby.
So
chicken wing.
Hot take.
I think what to say. So hot take. Dylan's hot take.
University of Georgia. Tight end Brock Bowers.
That man is this year.
Yeah.
I was watching a little bit of what they were doing last week, and I'll break their game down a little bit later. But the way that they're using him, because they haven't had as good of a running game this year as they've had in the last couple of years.
Oh, yeah.
But the way that they're using this man, they're putting him out in screens. They're using RPOs. They're getting him outside. He's basically a tall running back. They're just getting out in the open space, and that's why he's racked up so much yardage as a tight end.
Yeah.
But he's just a big receiver.
Yeah.
And it's so wild how they're using this guy. And if they keep on using him this way for the rest of the season, you might honestly see him in the Heisman race.
Yeah, you could.
That's if Travis Hunter don't come back and goes absolute dog on everybody. But
so I'm not saying Heisman runner or anything, but I do have to give a shout out to the Liberty University football team. It has been 4 weeks going on 5 now, where they have owned Conference USA in their first inaugural season.
They've got a top 10 offense right now.
You know, their quarterback came from Tennessee. He is SEC blood. Salter he's been the player of Conference USA for the week twice already. 2 of those games, he has dropped either 5 or 6 touchdowns, depending on which week you look at. He has dropped 5 or 6 touchdowns in each game. Not looking back, they've been winning by an average of 22.5 points over the last 4 weeks.
Damn, what the hell? haven't watched that. That sounds like some good football, baby. Some blowouts. Jeez.
Not only is their offense pretty solid this year, their defense is really good. And this is after losing Hugh Freeze to Auburn this year and getting Jamie Chadwell from Coastal Carolina. And as I always said, if you can't beat them, you join them. And that's what Jamie Chadwell did. That was
Jesus.
They're also playing Wake County High School teams too. The Conference USA is not.
I mean, they played Buffalo. They played New Mexico State. No, I'm not saying the teams off the top of my head. New Mexico State. I can't remember who that third team was.
Wake Forest High School.
Go Wake Forest. Maybe they can play the Eagles. Dakota's team.
But I mean, just in general.
Dakota's team.
Oh, Eagles go! Eagles go! Shout out Dakota. Hope you're watching. If not, it's your fault.
Screw you.
Yeah, as in what the two guys here said. The Coop and Pelvic Buster both said. So, and bring it out, dude. So but surely good.
I know. That's better than far left.
Exactly.
That's what Javon calls me on the other show.
Javon, he's more far right than far left. I'm just saying.
He did give me a good compliment. He said, I'm starting to get more farther right with doing all this stuff. So he's like, yeah, but my name is still far left. I can't.
For now. But anyways, all right. So we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of this whole thing.
Before we get into this, let us know if you're watching. Go ahead and hit that comment right there. Let us know that you're watching. We'll give you a shout out here in a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. As of right now, the first viewer of the night. Yeah, it's my brother.
No one likes him. What do you mean? What a sucker.
Probably has one of the best gamer tags right now. Fartboy1234. That is.
He just wants attention. Jeez.
Hey, it's just like my cousin. So I mean, it kind of went hand in hand together.
Listen, what's your face?
I don't know. Hey, at least it's not as bad as some other people I know that were big garbage cans.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So, anyways,
like Oregon State's defense.
Yes, sir.
I was gonna say Colorado's defense, but that's okay.
Well,
we know how to tackle, just not yet. It's not the season for tackling yet.
They're in rehab right now, dude. They got whooped.
All right. Whoever comments, we will shout you guys out. If you guys make a comment on the on the chat, thank you. We will put it to the top of the thing, dude. It's been a long freaking day at work. Long freaking day at work.
We sat at a desk.
I wish that's all I did today. I had to help out with the server today. So.
Oh my god,
dude, those things are freaking heavy and huge. But anyway,
that's what she said.
I'm glad somebody can finally say that.
That's enough.
So we are going to go ahead and get right on into it. We are going to start talking about the games of the week that we think are some major games that you could maybe make a few picks on. We are going to go ahead and start with Aaron, your first game. Go ahead and shout it out.
Oh, you got to tell me what my games are. I can't look at my phone now. Yes.
This week, as you can see on the bottom of the screen, we have all the games going through of what we're going to be talking about today. And a few extra, like Fresno State, Nevada. We're not talking about them, but, dude, shout out Fresno State for how great they've been playing this year. That's one big one. But we are talking about USC Colorado first, right?
Oh, yes, my bad. The high-powered offense first. Do we know how to tackle this week? Do we have an offensive line? It's going to be USC. They're going to crush them because Colorado cannot tackle. They don't have an offensive line. They got exposed by Oregon so bad.
They had Shedeur, and they had the tight end, the walk-on tight end. That's it.
It's just last week was so bad. We were watching the Alabama. Me and my dad were watching the Alabama game. We were watching that game. I turned it back. They were up by 3 touchdowns. I was like, Dad, you want me to turn it back? He goes, hell no. They can't tackle the damn running back. They can't tackle anybody. I'm like, yeah. I turn away, turn back. I'm like, oh, they scored another touchdown. Wow, it's getting out of hand. That's great. I'm not gonna watch this anymore. It's like,
you got USC going, most likely going to end up with that win.
dude, it's gonna be bad. I know it is, but maybe I don't know. Maybe coach probably might pull a rabbit out of his hat, but it's gonna be hard. If you're going up against the Heisman Trophy winner, that's not a good thing.
When you don't have your best player on the field at all on either side of the ball, it does hurt you.
Oh yeah.
So you have to figure out another way, and he still has about 2 to 3 weeks left of being on the IR list or however you want to say it, the day-to-day list type deal. But so we have USC favored in that one. Now we're gonna stay in the same conference. We're gonna go Utah, Oregon State, and that's to the main man, pelvic buster Dylan Kraft. And the women aren't the only ones that call him that.
You had that. That's gross. So Utah, I talked about a little bit in the pre-show. Utah, they're struggling on offense right now. They've got a true freshman, Nate Johnson. He's doing the best that they can right now until Cam Rising can come back. He dressed last week, which is a good sign, but he's still not playing yet. He's still not ready yet. And they don't have a timeline for him. So that's a scary thought for them starting to go more and more into conference play, especially with how the Pac-12 is this year.
We have more than just 2 teams that are competing for it.
Yeah. So they've got to get Cam back if they want to be able to compete when they start getting ranked play that they're going to be going into here soon.
Now that's their second, not this week, but next week.
Yeah, this week I don't really foresee them having an issue with Oregon State. Last week, Oregon State looked awful compared to Washington State. Cam Ward threw the ball all over the yard. I think he had for over 400 yards and had another 50 rushing. Just being able to do whatever he could with that secondary. And going against a team like this, that last week they had a very conservative play calling. Their OC, he went on and said, I did it very conservatively, 75% rushing, because he needs to be able to be on the field, get that experience, and go into next week. Because the defense, they have the best defense in college football right now, in my opinion. Jonah Ellis is leading. He's leading all NCAA right now in sacks with 5.5 so far. And the guy's a freaking dog. So they get after it.
They're definitely one of the top defenses. Stat-wise, they're the top. We got to do a week-by-week activity.
Well, the thing is, too, they're going against Oregon State that has a good running game. They've got 2 guys, Martinez and Kendrick, that are clearing up the rushing game. And DJ's helping out a little bit. He's able to run the ball some. But DJ passing-wise, he's not like he was. He's a broken ukulele. He can't get the ball anywhere that he wants to. That's what it sounds like. So I don't have any type of faith in DJ's making passing ball a lot. So we'll see about that.
So we're going to keep it one more time in the same conference. We are going to go to AJ's first job out of college. We got Arizona versus Washington in Arizona. AJ, what is your take? Because when you were there in Arizona, you got to meet Gronkowski on the sideline too during the game. So that's pretty cool. So,
yeah, that was pretty sick. That was I did not expect to meet him that night. I just happened to walk out onto the field and I just happened to stand right next to him. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. No, this is going to be a pretty big game for both teams. Obviously, it's I know we've talked a little bit, before the show. I think Washington is probably the best team in the country right now with the way that they play. But Arizona is also one of those teams that could give Washington fits if their defense doesn't show up. Jaden Delora is a really good quarterback. But Arizona's defense has improved a lot from where they were last year. I think last year at this point they were allowing 415 yards a game, and they've gotten that down to 315. So that defense is much improved than last year.
It's a little different. A little different.
Yeah, but so we'll see. I think the biggest thing is going to be if it's a close game, can Jaden Delora avoid turning the ball over, because that's been his biggest issue during his time at Arizona. So we'll see. It's gonna be a fun game, but the difference is gonna be who can avoid turnovers, and like the difference is really going to be in those two quarterbacks.
Oh yeah.
I do agree with you on there. I think the quarterback play is going to be the biggest thing there.
Yeah.
We are going to change conferences for the first time tonight. We are going to go to Alabama, Mississippi State. Aaron, what is your take on this one?
Alabama is going to win. They played really tough against Ole Miss, as well as Alabama's defense is finally starting to play well. The secondary sucks. They just suck. I was surprised that number 2 on Alabama's defense did not commit a damn penalty. That's what he did for the past 3 games, dude. It was like, I'm not holding, as he pulls him and tackles him. I'm not holding. Yes, you are holding, idiot. Get your hands off him. But number 15 on Alabama's defense, it sucks that he's a damn junior, but he played one of the best games I've ever seen an Alabama defensive player play. He is on par to be as good as some of the Alabama greats at D end, D tackle. He was an outside linebacker, Turner. There was one play specific. I remember there was a typical Ole Miss doing the stupid wide receiver running back jet out. We're just going to throw it to you off just a little screen to the right. You'll be fine. Turner immediately was about to rush the field, grabbed onto him, and went with him out, and he did not complete the pass. It was such a well played. He had 3 sacks that game. He played so well.
Now let me ask you this question. Do you think Alabama's finally decided on a quarterback?
Yes. Nick Saban finally got the fucking mole out of his ass. It's going to be Milroe, and it should have been Milroe from the damn start. Milroe played some tough football. He won over the team. He got hit on both of his touchdowns. He got absolutely decked. Or no, one was a touchdown. One was a 50, 30, 40-yard pass. It was beautiful, but he got decked and threw an absolute bomb down the field. It was very impressive, and that's the thing Milroe does best. His deep balls are good, but say you throw, like most quarterbacks, you throw a pick, all right, I won't let it get to me, but it gets to you, and you suck for a while to coach all right, we're going to run something else that will make you get out of it. Milroe's like, I don't give a crap I threw a pick. Let's go throw a bomb down the field. Hey, look, a touchdown. I don't care. That's the way Milroe plays, which is kind of reckless abandonment to a certain extent, but it's such good football to watch. Alabama's finally figured out that they can run the ball. Just the line has to show up. The line shows up, we'll be good the rest of the season, but the line's got a lot of work still to do.
Absolutely. So we're going to keep it in that conference one more time, at least for now. Dylan, we got Georgia, Auburn. We were talking a little bit at the beginning of the show about Georgia's whole team, pretty much the whole team.
Yeah.
And we were talking a little bit about a few minutes ago about Hugh Freeze and his first year at Auburn. I believe he's won 2 games already, but what's your take on this game tonight?
3.
Or Saturday. He's won 3 games?
They won
games.
3. Mm-hmm. Yep.
They're struggling.
Georgia?
No, Auburn is.
Okay.
Auburn is struggling.
I was clarifying for the.
Oh, yeah, no. I'll talk about Georgia in a second.
Yeah.
The big question mark here going into this game is Peyton Thorne going to be the number 1 quarterback going here? Because last week Robbie Ashburn played for most of the second half. Peyton couldn't do anything. He did not look good. He didn't feel good in the offense. The offensive line wasn't really.
The crazy thing is, we saw this was another team earlier in the season with Ohio State with the 2 quarterback scheme. Once they started on 1, it was kind of like the quarterback started playing better for that team.
It's happened before.
Yeah, exactly.
But this, to me, this is not that case. Okay. This is Peyton is not doing what he was supposed to do, and Hugh Freeze is a coach that he has a short leash. He will take you out. He does not care if he hurts your feelings. And that's what needs to happen.
And that's how it has to be in the SEC.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, SEC is definitely that.
I was going to say, see Alabama versus USF for any references on that one.
Yeah, that was so
yeah, definitely go into a game where they're playing the number 1 team in the country. And there's arguments saying that Georgia isn't a number 1 team right now, and everybody they kind of have a point to an extent. Now that I look back into it and see what they've been doing, they scored 40+ points in 3 out of 4 of their first games. Yes, it wasn't like it wasn't pretty. It wasn't it wasn't loud.
I get that.
Pretty, yes, it was. They have a very nice offense. Carson Beck is doing a great job just managing the game. He doesn't have to do anything
He's
crazy.
kind of like a J.J. McCarthy of Georgia.
Not using McCarthy. We can't stand him.
I know, but he
there's other quarterbacks. That are just
quarterbacks are.
I know.
I gotta win.
Coop's gonna come over here and whip your ass. I'm bringing it up.
I hate Michigan. As a matter of fact, so
But yeah. Well, anyway, Carson Beck has done such a good job controlling that offense. He's throwing for 73% completion rate. He's completing 75% of his passes right now, and they're down the field. It's not. Yes, they are using screens and RPOs and everything to get into the outside, but that's basically run. That's how they use that in that offense because they don't have the running game that they. Plus, them losing Robinson, he's hurt a lot. Yep. Plus, they're still dealing with other injuries. Brandon Milton still out there. Yes. So a lot of that has to do with a lot of the things that's been going on with that offense and why they've been thinking, but they're adapting. Yeah. That's the thing that people aren't talking about. And that's why, to me, Georgia is still the number one team in the country, and they will be until somebody takes them off. Yeah.
True.
So we'll see how they do, but I don't think Auburn's going to have any issue getting their ass kicked going to Georgia because they're doing even in Georgia Mayor, so they're going to get a old school.
So let you know. Don't call me. Okay. All right. So I'm going to bring it into the ECU Rice game. It's originally we we're going to have AJ talk about this game, but because of who he works for and where he works at, he's not allowed to because of certain rules that he has to abide by. But anyway, so ECU Rice, ECU's coming off their first win. We talked about it in the beginning. They beat an FCS team in Gardner-Webb. They looked decent in that game. They looked pretty good. But weeks prior, they looked good in the first half. They're definitely a first-half team. They're not a second-half team, 100% of the way. But I want to talk about Rice for a second. Rice is a school who's been Division I for within the last 3 years or so, 4 years max. They have a quarterback who's been around the country for about 4 or 5 years now. He started out in California with USC. He's gone to West Virginia. He's been at Georgia. And now he ended up at Rice. JT Daniels, right? That man played great the first 4 weeks of the season. He got hurt in the fourth quarter against USF. That ended the game for them. It was 21-20 night. He got hurt, right? At the end of it, they lost by 14. So that just tells you how important JT Daniels is. And he's a question mark for this game. So with that, I do believe if he does not play, ECU will pick up their first conference win. So that's what we're going to go with that.
I don't know. Last week, they're still alive.
Backup quarterbacks are not that good for Rice.
Yeah.
We don't have a good quarterback, period.
Yeah, Flint.
USF is just a thorn in everyone's flesh this season.
I know, right? I mean, come on. It's not just us, I swear.
Oh, man.
I swear.
USF is going to hang up a banner that says, beat Rice, almost beat Alabama.
Yeah. It's not good.
Season they thought they could hang with Bama the next year.
Yeah.
But we're going to go into Big 12 action right now. Aaron, we're talking about Kansas, Texas. Kansas with the sick unis 2 weeks ago. I think Blues are 4-0, if I'm not mistaken. Texas 4-0. Bam, go.
It's going to be Texas, dude. I mean, I want Texas to lose. Texas has done the Georgia thing. Well, not really the Georgia thing. They've done a lot less than Georgia. They haven't won games by a lot. When they beat Alabama, they played really well. But ever since then, they're like, oh, we're losing halfway through this game. All right, we're going to turn around the second half. That's going to eventually catch up to them. You can't just constantly play a game where it's, we're playing okay. All right, we're going to play really good in the second half. You can only do that so long until a team destroys you in the first half. Once you get destroyed in the first half and you don't really have a way to come back, I mean, it's over. Texas, I think, is definitely going to win. Kansas is going to kind of get manhandled because Texas has got, like when they play Alabama, they've mentioned it so many times. Texas has a completely non-fresh offensive line. Their entire line is a bunch of big old guys, and they play football like they're already in the NFL. They play hard and strong and faster than any of their opponents on defense. It's just unreal how strong Texas is up front in the top in the five of them. It's so unreal.
Yeah. So we kind of see where you're leaning there a little bit. AJ, we're going to your LSU Ole Miss game. What's your thoughts on that one?
It's an interesting matchup. I saw a cool stat on ESPN. Well, I guess it's not a stat as much as it is a fun fact, but usually this game is played towards the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season. It's actually only the second time since 1941 it's being played within the first 5 weeks of the season. So usually it helps determine the West, or at least who's going to be second place in the West. Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be. I think this is gonna be closer than a lot of people think. Like, Ole Miss has a really good team. Like, their defense is probably just as good as LSU's defense, but I think LSU has the better offense.
Yeah,
it's gonna be pretty close.
Don't say who you want to win yet.
I want them both to lose. That's my opinion.
Hey, is that
Fuck them both. Fuck them both.
Yeah, don't say who you think is going to win that game yet.
They both lose. That's my decision. Final. Jesus.
I mean, whoever wins that game wins the SEC West. So, just kidding.
You got South Carolina, Tennessee, who happens to be ranked higher than Florida, as AJ has mentioned earlier.
It's going to be a revenge game. Tennessee wants to avenge South Carolina coming in their house and doing a little backhand and leaving, taking the children and everything. Like, South Carolina's going to go in, and last week Spencer Rattler, I feel bad for the dude. Their offensive line looks absolutely horrible. The guy's running all over. He can't make a play. He's got 1 Mississippi and a half field football.
What? Oh, no, they're coming off the right.
Let me throw a status in the kind of surprise. Their offensive line has a 13% sack rate.
Hey, that's pretty good. In golf numbers, that's not bad, all right? We're kind of winning, but we're not winning, all right? It's okay. It's not the best. It's not the worst. It's in the middle. Solid mid.
So we've seen South Carolina this year. They've came to a couple places and really been able to play.
The only game they didn't look good in was the first game of the season.
That was last week against Mississippi State.
Yeah, I didn't see that game.
They did not play good. They look pretty ugly. I'm not going to lie.
I kind of looked at that game and I was like, I'm not watching that.
And the thing is, dude, in Tennessee, Joe Milton looks really, really good this year. Running the ball well. He's throwing the ball all over the place. They're able to run the ball pretty decently. The big thing is going to be with Tennessee, if they want to win this game, is pressure up front. They've got to blitz time after time after time. Make them make plays. That's going to be the big thing going into this. And if they don't do that and let Spencer Rattler get comfortable, don't let me get comfortable. Don't let me get comfortable. Don't get comfortable. Don't get comfortable. It's personal. And yeah, Tennessee's got to come play.
No, that one. Okay, so I was making sure that was one of the things. So we got the biggest matchup of the night. This is first time College Game Day goes to Durham. That's not for basketball, right? For Carolina and Duke. So they're going down Notre Dame, Duke, 7:30 from Wallace Wade Stadium. It could be a great game. So the thing that frightens me the most with this game, you got Notre Dame coming off the last-second loss to Ohio State last week because they didn't have 11 people on the field. Because that 11th person was supposed to be the defensive end on the side that Ohio State ran the ball into the touchdown. Two plays in a row. Okay? Remember that. Sam Hartman, we all know what he can do. Great quarterback, can move the ball whenever he wants to. Whenever he puts his mind out there, it's done, right? Defense, they missed, including last week and all 4 weeks of the season, they have missed 66 tackles on the outside the edges. 66 tackles missed. That is leading NCAA right now.
Let's go!
Remember that, all right? So the reason why I'm saying that is, remember that. Duke and their quarterback, Riley, he runs the ball just as much as he throws the ball. He has about 900 yards in throwing and about 730 yards in running.
And that's good for both.
Those
are decent numbers.
Well, to put it in another example is Sam Hartman just throwing-wise, because he doesn't really have to run the ball since this is an interesting stat. Notre Dame uses 5 running backs every game. They rotate. Everybody's fresh constantly, right? So they don't have to worry about –
Jesus. Number 1, you're in. Number 2, go. Number 3, 1 play, go. 4, go. 5, shut up. You still suck. Get 1 play, get the hell out. All right, back to 1. Go. That's it. That's the entire rotation. Go. Stop. Go. Stop. Go.
Notre Dame has 8 running backs on the roster. They use 5, okay? So Sam Hartman doesn't have to run the ball because they create enough running with those 5 guys. So they have to respect the run when it's play action. So with that, Sam Hartman's thrown about 1,200 yards so far this season in 4 games. Okay? Like I said, Riley, 900 yards. Throw 700 yards rushing. The next closest person to the rushing is 200 yards. I'm sorry. 250 yards. Okay? So with all that, what do we see here? We see a guy who can throw at the screen pass a lot, which we witnessed in person against Clemson, Aaron and I.
Screw Clemson. Easy win.
They couldn't throw the ball past 15 yards and be accurate. But his backup, who has 100% rate, has over 50 yards in just past 10-yard plays. Okay. So that's the difference in quarterbacks they got. With that all in mind, you got to remember, Notre Dame's coming off that one last-second loss. That's going to be brewing for them for a week. I don't want to see Sam Hartman after that. I don't want to see Sam Hartman after that, even though it's in Wallace Wade Stadium.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, I'm on the Duke train. I'm not going to lie. And I thought I don't like that.
That's a lie. Yeah, you said last week. Dude, don't lie about it. He's also on the state train for whatever freaking reason.
Well, forever. But no, the Duke right now, it's not so much the offense for me of why I think they're good. Their defense. They've got top 10 defense.
Mm-hmm.
They're able to stop the ball. They're able to force short drives, get people to get off the field, and their offense takes control. They have a higher possession rate than most of the teams.
Yeah. Well, that's because they can run the ball.
They can run the ball.
That helps out a lot.
Yeah. So I don't know if they've got the firepower to beat a Notre Dame. I'll be honest with that. Yeah. But I think they'll be able to keep it closer than everybody thinks they will.
Exactly where I was kind of going with.
That's true. I could see that.
Yeah. But we're going to get into the best part of the show, the picks of the week.
I thought you were going to get after.
That's it.
I'm excited for that.
We got 5 games we're calling right now. We are going to start with an easy one, I think. We're going to start with Georgia-Auburn. Dylan, we're going to let you go ahead and start with this. Who do you think is going to win, and what do you think the score is going to be?
Yeah, so I wrote it down. It's going to be Georgia. Pull out 38-10.
AJ, who you got?
Ooh, Georgia, 32-11.
11. Wow.
Yeah, kind of an odd score, but why not?
So you got to go with something a little freaky out there.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron, what about you? Who you got?
I got Georgia 35-28, and I can almost bet you Georgia is not going to be leading by half.
I could see that.
Georgia is slowing down, I feel. Georgia has not – they've played some close games recently. They haven't been winning by halftime a lot of times. Georgia's not going to be winning by half.
Yeah. Also, Auburn is like the only time they ever beat Georgia is when they play in Jordan-Hare. So
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about that too. Exactly. If there's any team that succeeds for beating those giant killers,
look what they did with the Hail Mary throw.
Mm-hmm.
Shut up.
Exactly. I was gonna say, notice how none of Auburn's amazing victories are ever outside of Jordan-Hare. Every single memorable Auburn victory is in the Plains.
And I have a feeling because Hugh Freeze is his first year there,
he'll have a big win.
I think this might be his big victory this week. I think you might be shocked. I think everybody might be a little bit shocked. I think it's going to be a decent scoring game, not a super one. I'm going to go Auburn, though. But I think it's going to be 24-21, last-second field goal for the win.
I could see that. Yeah, I have a feeling Auburn's going to actually show some football, but I mean.
It'll be the first time this year, maybe the only time until Bama comes in. That might be the only time.
I hate Auburn. Every year it's like that, dude. It's like, oh, we suck. Hey, Auburn's pretty good suddenly. What the hell?
So let's see one more time this time. And we're going to talk LSU, Ole Miss. AJ, who you got?
That's
not too excited.
I've been mulling this one over all day. Yeah, what the heck? I'm gonna go with Ole Miss barely, like 28-27. I think it's gonna be a close game.
Hey, Dylan or Aaron, who you got?
I hope they both lose. This ended in a tie. I know it's not possible, but it should be possible. I hate them both. Let's just let them both lose.
There is a chance.
I just let them both lose. I don't even care. But I think Ole Miss is going to win. Because Ole Miss, I mean, think about it. Lane Kiffin likes to drive his offense absolutely mad. He likes to play no holes barred. I don't give a hell how much you throw it or run it down the field. Let's score. Alabama, he laid an egg. And I think that egg is going to hatch to a damn Phoenix against LSU because he wants to score a ton of points. That's all he's about.
I agree.
So I think it's going to be a blowout.
I think it was in the second half. The first half they played really well. Dart showed some toughness, so the team backed them up.
Yeah, he sucked. But I think it's gonna be. I still think it's gonna be a close game, but because I think Ole Miss is gonna let them come back in the second half. But I think Ole Miss is gonna be up by a lot at halftime. I think Ole Miss is gonna win by, let's go 35-28. I think it'll be close in the end, but I think Ole Miss will come out.
Really almost spot on to what my prediction is for this one.
Going fast.
All right, how about you?
I believe in what Jaden Daniels has been doing so far this year. That's all I really have to say about this. So I'm probably I'm gonna go LSU. I think it's gonna be a little bit lower scoring. I'm gonna go 31-24.
You know, I was LSU in the beginning because I didn't like FSU. I was really disappointed with LSU in the first game. They came back, but they played Mississippi State last week. They didn't look super great. They won. Don't get me wrong, they won. But for the first 2.5 quarters, they weren't anything spectacular.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't until like halfway through the third almost when they started like picking it up and they started playing like them, like how they were last year almost. You might get a continuation of that. I think it really comes off of their coach, what kind of how he's doing. I really think he's a great quarterback. Ole Miss, they really do embody Lane Kiffin, and I mean like really embody Lane Kiffin, and it's in Ole Miss, so I think that kind of gives them an advantage with the Egg Bowl. And as AJ knows, it's a different feel in the Egg Bowl. The sound is different. It's not like your typical. Imagine Duke Stadium, but more like a lot higher with the seating and the way that stuff is set up.
So a normal stadium.
No. It's not. Trust me. It's not. It's just
you just described every college football stadium in America.
When you go to Duke, you don't climb up, you climb down.
You should have let off with that. The field is down. It's not. It went up. Anywho, that made no sense.
24-17. All right, we're gonna go down to Dylan's favorite team of the year, Utah versus Oregon State. We'll let Dylan start this one off. Dylan, who you got?
The way that it was looking so far this year, I'm actually kind of curious to see how Nate Johnson's going to play in this. I'm very curious about really the play calling. So I'm going to say Utah wins this. I don't think Oregon State is good enough to beat them, especially with that defense playing where they are. I'm going to go Utah 24, Oregon State 7.
AJ, what do you got?
Utah barely, like 24-20.
Wow. Aaron, what about you?
I got Utah barely as well. I mean, both Utah with their basically young buck as a quarterback, and Oregon State laying ducks and not doing anything else. I don't know. It's gonna be Utah. It's gonna be close. I think it's gonna be. Let's make it a fun game. Let's go 28-21, and the last touchdown is within like 10 seconds.
Okay. I'm kind of the same way with you guys. I think it's going to be Utah wins it, but I think it's going to be a lot closer because of the backup play, QB play, the whole thing, and also play calling. So I don't see Oregon State winning it. I do see it being close, though, and I don't see it very high scoring. I don't even see it hitting 20 points this week. I think it's going to be 14 to 10.
I can see that.
That's very.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of those feel like you get that gut feeling about certain things, and that's kind of how I am with that. But we are going to lead this one in. We got Kansas versus Texas. Aaron, who you got?
Texas. Kansas is not going to be able to hang. Texas offensive line is just so much seniority, so much just experience. It's just they're probably going to run the ball nonstop. And it's just going to be one of those typical SEC games where it's like, hey, Let's get on the choo-choo train. Oh, no, we hit some civilians. Let's keep driving the train. Keep going. That's all that's going to happen. Kansas is going to be probably run over, and it's not going to really change much. I mean, Texas, they could lose, but Texas is going to win. I'm going to go like 35-14, dude. It's just going to be a maul. I feel it's just going to be a maul.
Dylan, what about you? What do you think?
I think Texas is too overpowered. I don't think Kansas can hang with them. They're going to try to run the ball on that defensive line, and they're going to find out that they're not real men. And Texas has real men.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to even be close. I'm going to give it Texas 35, Kansas 14.
Pretty much the same thing. AJ, what do you think?
Y'all don't think Kansas has a shot in this game?
No.
Yeah, me neither. Texas 42.
We believe, not in Texas. Let's go, baby. Side we do. It's not Kansas. So
no disrespect to Kansas, but yeah, Texas is going to overpower too easily.
What do you think the score is going to be?
42-17.
There we go.
I was kind of the same way. I think Texas is going to win. It's in Austin. You know, when the Jayhawks play away, they're not as good as when they are at home, for obvious reasons. But they are a program that is on the rise. I do believe that because
I got to give them that credit.
Just a few years ago, they were 0-12.
Yeah, they were.
Hey, that's still a good number. You're negative 12, dude. That's good in golf. That's good in golf. That's all we're after.
I know they are showing up. I do think that they might score a little bit more than 14 points. I think that you might see them scoring about 20 when the Texas third string comes on in the second half. I do kind of have it at 56-21.
Oh, well, we haven't seen a big 50 game in a hot minute.
No,
I mean, which is weird. That's weird to say for the season because we've seen like 70 the same week. That was
even in the NFL. Shout out my Dolphins. Even in the NFL. Okay, we got the big game of the week this week: Notre Dame, Duke. Dylan, what's your take?
You put me on the spot on this one.
Absolutely, that's why I did it.
Oh gosh, because the thing is with this game.
I just want to hear you with the Duke train, and then afterwards I want to be like,
no,
I chose Notre Dame.
No, here's the thing with this. I'm going to actually surprise you a little bit because I like Notre Dame's offense. I like Sam Hartman. I like Sam Hartman. I like what they're doing in Notre Dame. They can do whatever they want on that offense.
They finally have the QB that they need.
But the thing is, I'm terrified of that defense. And they're going against an offense that can run the ball from multiple different angles with different people. And Riley Leonard can find an open receiver. And that's the thing. He can throw the ball.
He can. Is he as good as everybody says he is? Maybe. Who knows? We want to see him play Clemson. Clemson wasn't that.
Well, you haven't had enough film really to see. He played last year and this year. And last year he had a good season.
I'm not saying no.
So I like what Elko is doing. I like Elko. I like what he's been doing after taking the reins from Cutcliffe. I think it's going to be a very close game. I don't think Duke is going to have another upset like they did in week 1. So I'm going to give it to Notre Dame in this one. I think it's going to be I'm going to think it's pretty close. We're going to go 26-23. Notre Dame.
Aaron, what do you think?
35-28 Duke wins. Screw Notre Dame. Notre Dame has every year. Notre Dame always does it. All right, we're playing really well. We're a pretty good damn team. Hey, let's jump off this clip that I see. It looks really entertaining. Let's just jump off it. Notre Dame is good at losing games. They're not good at winning. Notre Dame hasn't done anything right since they played Alabama in the national championship one year where they had the one linebacker whose girlfriend was real but not real. Matt Taiteo, that good old story, which made me laugh, which I feel bad about, but I mean, dog, you got played. It is what it is. Oh, well. But, I mean, Notre Dame is going to it's going to be a close game. 35-28 Duke wins. But it's just really going to have to be what we're going to have to see. Because, I mean, Notre Dame, they're either going to be really good after playing terrible versus Ohio State, or they're going to be really, really bad. Because Notre Dame, like I said, loves to lose. That's what they're good at.
AJ, what's your take?
I just want to throw out there that Duke's last 3 games have been against Lafayette, Northwestern, and UConn, and that's where they've scored the majority of their points. So with that being said, Notre Dame 34-10.
Notre Dame 34-10. Okay. I'm kind of with AJ a little bit. You know,
not on the. I think Duke is good, but I mean they legit have not played anybody yet, so
He just talked.
I have nothing to base that on.
And trying to tell us that we were completely wrong.
No, just you two.
Yeah, he's talking. He was like, they actually did this.
Yeah.
You people don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, I'm with them though. I do think Notre Dame's going to win this game. I do not see Duke being able to move the ball like they have been. They will put up some points. I think they'll only put about 14 to 17 points this game. I see Notre Dame in the first half specifically coming out with a vengeance. They're seeing red right now. Literally seeing red from last Saturday. So I do believe you're going to end up seeing this game. I was thinking 42 to 49 to 14-17. So I think it's going to be a little bit of a blowout for Duke or for Notre Dame. I do think Duke will score at least a touchdown or two in the second half. I'm going 42-17.
Yeah, I was gonna say if Notre Dame can hold Ohio State to 17, then they're gonna hold Duke to that or less. Yeah.
I don't know though. When you put 10 people in instead of 11, it's pretty easy to score some points. Ohio State proved that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, for the first time, College Game Day. You know, College Game Day when they come to Durham, typically it's for basketball only. So this is the first time in Duke's history that they're coming for football.
It's wild to me.
So, and it's actually the first time I think in 4 or 5 years, I can't remember what it was. Whenever Cutcliffe was kind of like in the middle era of his time, that Carolina and Duke were both ranked, and that was the last time that we've seen a top 25 matchup in Wallace Wade.
Wow.
And
did y'all really quick? Speaking of that game, did y'all see who the guest picker is going to be? The celebrity guest picker for game day? It's going to be Ken Jeong.
Wow.
Yeah. If y'all don't know who Ken Jeong is, it's the dude from Community, Senor Chang.
Wow.
So you know he went to Duke here locally.
Yeah, he went to Duke and North Carolina. Yeah.
He went to Duke's med school and he went to UNC's undergrad. And the crazy thing is, he only cheers for Duke because they were the only school that kind of like said, yeah, you can come on to med school. But then the funny thing is, not many people know this. His wife went to UCLA for med school. So he has 3 original Blue Bloods in his family.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
He's one of the only people in America that can say, I can cheer for any of those 3 Blue Bloods. And have a reason why for it. I have a reason why for it. So
yeah, he's not hopping on no bandwagon.
I don't know if you guys ever saw his last time he picked teams of about 3 or 4 years ago. He called out his wife on College Game Day at Notre Dame, and he was like, "Fran, you complete me, ho." That's his wife's first name and last name, Fran Ho.
Oh.
That's just a little tidbit for you guys. So
they gave that answer for Camo.
Exactly. But AJ, we do appreciate you coming on the show today. We hope that you will be on again very soon. Hopefully the last game is when it's the playoff time. We'll have you back on for that for sure.
Let us know in the comments whenever this goes what other live events would y'all want us to do? I mean, we've talked about doing more live events. We did the one in Savannah.
We're thinking maybe October 7th be live at the NC State Marshall game because 3 out of us will be there.
Yeah.
So we might have a live event going on that day. Maybe teach you guys a little bit about tailgating the ECU way in Raleigh. So at a state game.
Yeah, they don't know how to.
No, they think they do. I will tell you. They're probably about to rank number 3 or 4 for the top tailgates in the state. I think number 1 is obviously ECU. Number 2, I believe, might be App State.
Yeah, how was it going down there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know from AJ's point of view, but from my point of view, I kind of compared the town and the school and then the tailgating that compared to ECU and UNC, Duke, and State. I think the town is a great town. It's definitely one of those like fall-esque picture towns that you go to inside type deal. You're not very far from like skiing resorts, but at the same time, you're there. School is the town. Literally, you think ECU is that way, or you think UNCW is that way. It is literally the town, one main road, the whole left side, and most of the right side is beautiful.
That town would be beautiful to visit in the fall, but like That's it. I would never want to live there.
Yeah, it's one of those times
It
you
would
don't wanna-
be.
You know what's right there? What leads you into the town is the NASCAR All-Star race in Wilkesboro.
Yeah.
So that's-
NASCAR, baby. Left turn central's what I'm talking about.
So it's really kind of cool. The history up there is really kind of amazing. But I will say I can't judge App State 100% truly on tailgating because they did have at least half the crowd as ECU tailgaters.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, but that's
A
because
lot of ECU tailgates.
No, that's what I'm saying. So I can't say 100% that App State's number 2. That's why I said about 3 or 4, 2 to 3, and then the other one was 3 to 4.
I mean, I'd say State's probably up. They might be number 2.
That's what I'm saying. Like I couldn't.
I don't know who I could put above State.
Well, ECU.
Well, yeah, outside of these.
I mean, from what I've heard too, and we'll ask later this week on Tuesday, you guys will hear a little bit about UNC Charlotte. Not telling you who it is, but you'll hear a little bit about UNC Charlotte. But we'll have to ask that athlete about the tailgate at UNC Charlotte. Kind of get a feel for it and stuff like that.
They're all engineers, so I don't know if they really party that much.
No. Surprisingly,
They do it sophisticatedly, you know, like you build like a trebuchet and you slingshot the beer into your mouth from 10 feet away.
hey,
You know, sophisticated.
fully roll it up off what is it? What you see at the airport where you like walk across, it helps you walk a little bit faster.
The escalator.
Is it an escalator?
Yes, it's
is
an
it speed
escalator.
walk or whatever?
It's not a speed. You speed walk.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
not-
But I mean,
the
like,
escalator is something that moves you.
so it isn't over.
Thank y'all for joining the show today.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Ed. One that
We'll let them know.
We'll see you guys soon. And this has been the Midweek Breakdown hosted by the Athletes Table.
Later.